Hello and welcome to Tuesdays with Annette. That's right, it's home ec time. We're in the kitchen and I hope you've got your ingredients ready for today's recipe. Now, the recipe we're doing today is a beautiful dish or recipe that's come out of the French bloody provinces. It's beautiful. Anyway, this is the book that we're going to be using. It's the Cooking for One or Two, which is fabulous, my latest one. And this is the recipe we're going to make. I know, we're making Florentine biscuits. They are so delicious. Oh my gosh, and wait till you see how easy they are. So I hope you've downloaded the recipe off the website, you've got your ingredients, and you're ready to go. But before we start, we're always on a Tuesday, you know what we do? We go over and we wash our hands, alrighty. So, 20 seconds, let's do it. So we're making sure that we're all hygienic and fabulous. And thank you for joining me today. Hello, if you're just tuning in, it's Florentine Vicky's out of book Cooking for One or Two. And we make 12 biscuits. I've preheated my oven to 180 degrees fan force, ready to go. So I hope you've got your oven on and it's the red light's off. Let's do it. I've got my soapy sink here, ready to help with the washing up. So let's look at, first of all, what we need to create this recipe. So first of all, we're going to need some glacé cherries, some almond slivers, or slivered almonds. We need some sultanas, currants, we need cornflakes, plain flour, we need some honey, brown sugar, some skim milk, Floralite, and some dark cooking chocolate and cooking spray. So that's what we need to make the recipes, but we also need to also get a little chopping board so we can chop our glacé cherries. That's the only thing we've actually got to chop, so that's fantastic. Now, last week's show, before we jump in and I talk about everything, we did the Indian curry together, and only one person showed me their photo of their Indian curry, and it was Jenny Adcock. So Jenny, thanks for sharing with me, and hello, winner, you get a personally signed copy of book 1. Now, we're in school holiday mode, and I'm excited because I'm hearing there's lots of kids watching the show. First of all, I want to say, hello William, how are you? Thank you for watching my show with your gorgeous mum Kate. She was telling me that they watch it of a night, a lovely son, mum, bonding time of a night, but he was excited to be able to cook on the show during the holidays. So I'm wondering though, is there any other kids out there cooking with me today? And if there is, let me know, because I get excited about hearing about kids cooking in the kitchen. So anyway, William, get ready because we're going to start cooking. So first of all, what you'll need is these. Now, you need a little zip bag. It's a little snack bag, and that's to make the zigzagging of the chocolate on the top. We've also got a couple of different measure cups here. I've got a glass one because that's how I like to do with the margarine when I've got to melt it. I've also got a 7-centimetre scone cutter. So how you work that out is just measure the base and it'll be the 7. And that will give you the perfect size for the biscuits. And I'll show you how and why we're using a scone cutter. Don't worry, it all makes sense when you see the show. So that's going to be used. I've got a couple of tablespoons. I've got a couple of scrapers as well because I want to have one for the cookies and one for the chocolate. I've got a little whisk here that I'll be using, a tablespoon, a dessert spoon I should say, my little old wooden spoon, and I need some scissors. So I hope you've got them as well because I'll explain all as we go. So I've also got my big bowl for the cooking, for making everything in. I've also got a tray, a metal tray that I'll be using to make the cookies in. I've got my cling wrap here as well because I'm going to do that just now with the margarine. So are you ready? Woohoo! Let's start cooking. So first of all, before we get into anything, I'm going to do the margarine first. I like to get that out of the way. So where is it? So we want to melt it. So it's 45 grams. This is the easy way I do it. But you can also do 3 tablespoons. So let's measure it. Let me get that out of the way. Oh, that's a little bit much. 45 grams you want. And then you put that into the microwave. There we go. Perfect. Now, cling wrap the top, okay? Because I don't want the margarine splattering all over your microwave. And if your kids are cooking today, I'm excited that you're in the kitchen cooking with me and it's holiday time. What a perfect way to have a cooking class. So let's put it now in the microwave. I'm going to do it on 6% power for 40 seconds. And let's just, it can work its magic while we get everything else ready. Now the only thing I have to do, let me get rid of my scales, I'm done with them. All I've got to do is do some glacé cherries, and you want to get them out first. Let's chop them up so they're done. So you want a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to get my 1/4 cup measure, one of my little sharp near-flame knives. Oh, let's just stop that. Oh, it's made a mess, Billy. Look at that. Here's me telling you, put the cling wrap on and it won't make a mess. Well, obviously it has. So can I tell you what you do in this situation? Can I say I deliberately did that so I could show you this? I know, it's live shows. What can you do? What you do is, oh actually wait a minute, I'll get another measure cup that's glass, take it to 0. Well, you don't even have to, it can be any measure cup. But I want to make sure I've got 45 grams in here because it can affect the recipe because I've lost a bit in the microwave. See, so even an experienced cook can have things happen because look at all that margarine that I've lost on the cling wrap. So, let's pour it in. Now remember what it was? 45 grams. Yeah, I've got 38. So we want to add to that now. So if ever that happens, don't just go, oh well, no. Perfect. 45, take 2. Let's do it this way. And I'm only going to do it for a little bit. I'm going to do it on 5% now for 10 seconds and we'll leave it there. All right. So anytime that happens, guys, don't panic. Just do what I did. Because I want to make sure we need the right liquids for the recipe and the biscuits to hold together. Okay, so thanks for joining me if you just come in and thinking, what's Annette doing with this microwave? Hello, we're making Florentine biscuits out of Cooking for 102, and today we are going to have the best afternoon tea ever. Now, when you're cutting your cherries, some of them can be quite big. So, like when it's too big, like that one's quite big, I'll actually cut it into 3. Just so it's not a huge big clump of the glacé cherry. Now, you're saying, you've lost me, Annette. Don't like glacé cherries. Well, I'm not a big fan of glacé cherries because I find them very sweet. But in this recipe, they are fabulous. But you could use any other type of glacé fruit, like ginger. Oh, how fabulous would ginger be in there? And you could all do, even dried apricots might work, you know, diced up in it. Or, you know, the glacé pineapple, any of those sort of ones would work fine. So you want 1/4 cup, and once you've got that, we have finished our chopping. Okay, so let me get rid of the chopping board. I'm going to wash your hands because they'll be a bit sticky from the glaze on the glacé cherries. Okay. Let me get that out of the way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, here's my big bowl. Now we're going to do what's called the dry mix. And then we'll do the wet mix. So what we start with is we have the glacé cherries. So they go in the bowl. Then we want 1/4 cup of slivered almonds. Now, if you don't have any, and you're thinking, oh, I really like to make this recipe, you could always use any unsalted nuts. Peanuts would be nice in it. But if you're going to put in like macadamias or that, you need to cut them because they'll be way too big. So what we've done now is we've done the quarter of a cup of the sliced up glacé cherries, quarter cup of the slivered almonds. Now what we do is we put in 3 tablespoons of sultanas. And often you'll find this in my recipes, that it's spoon measures for things because they're so, because it's cooking fondant too. We're only making 12. Now, I mean, if you wanted to double the mix, you could, but this is going to be, if you're just living at home on your own or just you and your partner or whatever, 12 biscuits is enough to handle instead of having 24. And you think, what am I going to do with them all? So we've done 3. Did I do 3? Yes. 3 craisins. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we just we've got all that in. We can move that over here. And we're going to put in the 1/2 cups of cornflakes. So let's my cup measure. So as I said, this is the dry, so get your cornflakes. Make a mess like I am. That's about right. All right, so we've got 1/2 cups of cornflakes. They go in. Now, you could actually, if you wanted to make this gluten-free, and I talk about it in the recipe, it's in the bottom, you can make it gluten-free by using gluten-free cornflakes as well as gluten-free plain flour. So check the recipe, it tells you how to do that. I'm going to put in now just 1/4 cup. We only want 1/4 cup of flour, plain flour. So I hope you're keeping up with me. Thanks for joining me today. It's all about Florentine biscuits. Yum! So now what you do is get your wooden spoon and just give that a mix. Combine it together, and if you see any dried fruit that's clumping together, then just break it up a little bit, because sometimes the glacé cherries, like here I've got them sticking together. No, we don't want you together. There we go. That's looking fantastic. So that's not hard, is it? Really, what we're doing with this recipe is making magic, but we're not going to be working very hard with it. So there's our dry. Now let's do our wet. All right, so let's get the marge. Hopefully it's all fabulous. My goodness. Okay. And the reason this splatters more than normal butter or margarine is because there's water in the Floralite. That's how they whip it up and helps make it so much lower in fat. And so that's what's making it splatter, is the actual water, and if you were wondering. All right, so let's make the wet mix. So what we start with is 2 tablespoons. Let me get the lid off, of brown sugar. And I always just push it to the side so I get it nice and flat and level. And it's packed well. So 2 tablespoons brown sugar. We want, what do we want? We want 3 tablespoons of skim milk. Now if you're using my measure spoons, just put your finger down on the edge there to press it down so you don't get extra liquid. And we put in 3 tablespoons of skim milk. Hey William, are you keeping up with me, honey? Mum's going to love afternoon tea when you make this today. So I think she's motivated, aren't you, Kate? And now we're going to do the honey. So I always buy this one, the pure honey. It's so beautiful. It's yellow box. It's just a really good GI, low GI honey. Especially if you've diabetes or anything like that, you would be interested in know that. 2 tablespoons. So let's just get my little scraper, because I want all that honey in, Dale. Make sure we don't miss it. That's it. And one more. And we've preheated our oven to 180 degrees, remember, so it's all hot and ready to go. I reckon these are probably one of the easiest biscuits, but they've got the wow factor, and that's what I love about it. And traditionally, oh my gosh, traditionally they would be like 15 grams of fat for a Florentine. My way, hello, yes, 4.3 grams of fat. Now, get your little whisk or a fork and mix that wet stuff together. You love mine. We've got the margarine in there, you've got the honey, the brown sugar, and the milk. So this is your wet, this is your dry. So now, get your scraper and just pour it all in. That's why it's important that I wanted to make sure I got all the flora in there. Let me put this out of the way. Because I need that wet mix to make sure it works. All right, so now all you've got to do is fold it together. All right, give that a good mix up. Oh my, you should smell the honey. It's so beautiful. And all that lovely fruit in there. And traditionally Florentines can have the glacé cherries and that in them. Sometimes they don't. A lot of times what they'll do is on the base of the biscuit when it's cooked, they'll just thick chocolate on them, and that's why they're a bit high in fat. But I'll show you how I've been able to still give you the chocolate and make it fizzy fabulous, but with not so much chocolate. All right, so biscuit mix is done. I know. Are you ready? We're gonna now put them on the tray. So how we're gonna do that is we get the cooking spray. Give it a good spray. You don't want the cookies sticking. And now what we're going to do is, this is where the scone thing comes in. That's right. So what I do is, with your tray, just so you're familiar with it, just go along like this, 4, 4, just so you get an idea of positioning. And so what you do then is you get your tablespoon and put 2, oh not tablespoons, dessert spoons, just a normal dessert spoon, and you put in 2, about 2, and then push it around the edge. So hold the little scone, like you don't have to have it, I just find that it makes it really easy. And then just carefully, because I want to get that lovely round shape, you lift it out, see? So we're going to make 12 cookies. Always look and see, oh my God, have I got any glacé cherries in there? We don't want them to miss out. So just take your time. If you see a little gap, just make sure you fill it up. Press them down. And this one's got a bit of a gap there. I might just show a couple of cornflakes there and gently lift it up. So we're going to do this till we have 12. There we go. As I said, a couple of dessert spoons, and if you have any mixture left over, you can always just add a little bit of love to them later. And as I said, these actually, the biscuits, from, they're a French recipe, because when you think of Florentine and it's Italian, that's normally to do with like spinach. It's a, you know, quiche Lorraine, you know, Florentine, you know, quiche and all that stuff. It's not this type of Florentine. So we don't want to get confused with that. And as I said, we'll cook them in the oven, 180 degrees fan force. It says 20 to 25 minutes. Now when I've made a batch earlier so I can finish this whole recipe with you today, and I did it for 20. You know, because you don't want to burn them, because with the honey, that can make them go too brown. So just, I would put your timer on for 20 and then come back and check. All right. As I said, these are only 4.3 grams of fat of biscuit, so it's a bit fantastic. And as I said, you know, just carefully put your spoons in and then spread it around. There we go. I've got 4 more to go. How are you going? I hope you're going to post your pictures up because I'm really keen. William, I need to see a photo because, you know, the recipe is on the website. If you didn't have time to do it today, then, gosh, you know, you've got all till next Tuesday to show me your photo. And I can see I'm going to have a little bit of mix left because I don't want to go too big too quickly. And I'll show you what you do with it. 2 to go. I just find it makes it so much easier having it with the scone cutter. I mean, maybe if you don't have a scone cutter, you could use maybe an egg ring. That could work. The 7 centimetres is what I think is great because it means it's like a good size little biscuit. If you go bigger, you might not get as much mix. So here we go. Now I've got a little bit of mixture left. I'm not worried about that at all because I'm going to scrape it out, scrape it all out. And let's give some of these biscuits a little bit of extra love. So I'm looking at who was missing out a little bit. Who needs a little bit more cookie? That one could do with a bit there. Oh, there's a little hole there, we fill that. Aren't they fun? They're so easy to make, aren't they? And they just are super delicious. I think they are going to just be a family favourite. All right, so let me wash my hands. Are you ready to go in the oven? Okay, so let's put them in. There's my 12. Aren't they looking fabulous? I'm going to do the timer for 20, okay? Oh, let's shut the door. Want to keep that heat in. And then what you do is, once they're cooked, you take them out and let them cool, alrighty? So now, here is my batch that I made a little while ago. So there they are. You can see they're lovely and brown. They're looking delicious. We're all waiting for afternoon tea, that's for sure. Remember, 4.3 grams of fat out of the Cooking for 1 or 2 book. But now, let's make some more magic. Yes, let's get the scales again. And we're going to melt some chocolate. So we want 40 grams. So break them. This is the dark cooking chocolate. I always think that get a good quality one because it does taste better, I've got to tell you. We want 40 grams. So I put in there 2, 4, 6, 7, okay, it's nearly 8. Yep. All right, so you work it out. Now, we're going to put it in on 50% power in the microwave again for 2 minutes. 50%, because if you don't do that, you'll actually find that it could burn the chocolate. Now, while we're waiting for that, I've got my little bag. So you had to remember I said to you the little zip bag? Well, we need that to do the zigzagging on top of the biscuits. So if you look at the picture, you can see that's what they're going to look like. And so this is a fun thing for kids. That's why, I really want to know, is there any kids watching today? Are you cooking with me or are you just enjoying the show? I'd love to know what kids are out there looking at the show. It's really lovely to know that because my little Portia has been on the show, my little granddaughter, and she loves these. They've already put their order in to pick up some this afternoon. Now, while I think about it, next week, on next Tuesday and Thursday show, I'm going to be telling you something a little bit personal that's very exciting that I want to share with you because you're like my family now. I want to share with you what's happening, not to do with Simply Too Good, but to do with me personally. And I want to share the news because it's super exciting. So make sure you're here next Tuesday. You'll be the first to hear about it. And I am going to talk about it in full detail in next week's newsletter for October. So if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, then get in there, do it now so you're ready for next Thursday. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday you'll be getting the newsletter. It's free. You just got to go to the website and click on to the newsletter, free to subscribe. Now, next week's show, no, Thursday. Hello, it's only Tuesday today, Annette. Thursday's show, I'm thinking a salad. Why not do something fabulous? We're in spring. I'm not talking lettuce, tomato, cucumber. I'm talking Thai beef noodle salad out of book 5, and I'll be making that on Thursday. It's fabulous. But then also on next Tuesday's show, I'm really wanting to do a family favourite. It's easy to make, and it's the honey mustard chicken. It's also out of book 5. A lot of love for book 5 for the next couple of cooks, but it's a really good one. Don't be buying a jar of that mustard chicken stuff anymore, people, please. It is not anything compared to my fabulous version. Yeah, so that's, you know, the next show. Now just dissolve the chocolate. I put it in a little glass bowl because I always like to do glass in the microwave. And I'm just going to mix that a little bit until I've got all that chocolate dissolved. Now that's perfect. Now I want to show you a little trick, because I'm all about giving you tips and ways to do cooking easily. Now what you want to do is imagine, right, I'm going to try and get that in there. It would be really hard. I mean, I haven't got 3 hands, so let me show you. Put your little bag into one of the cups. And now, where is my scraper? Have I got another scraper somewhere? I've lost a scraper. Billy, can you grab me a scraper, Dale? Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I want to scrape all that chocolate into this. We want it in the bag. So get your, why I like a scraper, because it really gets it all out, and just carefully pour it into your little snack bag. And this is how we're going to zigzag. I'll show you how to do it. It won't be hard. And it's fun. I mean, just the fact that we're putting chocolate on it is so exciting. All right. Now what you do is you pick up the bag, right, and make sure you get all the air out, okay, and seal it very secure. Okay, if you're doing this like William and you're not sure, get someone else to make sure it's sealed, and that's fine. Then what you do is you get the corner, and this is where the scissors come in, and in the little corner here, I'm going to cut off a tiny bit, a little bit, just enough so it's thick enough for me to zigzag. Isn't this fun? You don't need a piping bag, this is easy. Then, just carefully, because it'll pour out, here we go. Pour it over the top. As I said, zigzagging. I made these beforehand so I could do this with you, so you just need to remember when your biscuits are ready, make sure they're cooled. Okay, that's important. And then you'll just zigzag the chocolate over the top. How fabulous. And isn't this easy with the bag? I know you never know what you're going to learn on Tuesdays with Annette, are you? Now, what you want to do is squeeze out that last bit, but I'm finding it a bit hard to get it out. So this is another little trick for you. And I mentioned this in the recipe. See, I've got my silver metal lifter. What I'm going to do is, I'll just move it over here, Bill. So can you do a close-up for me? I'm going to, it really helps because it's metal, because it's firm. I'm going to push all that gorgeous chocolate to the corner, because, hello, we want it all on the biscuits. See, look how much more is there now. And now, with the leftover, I'm going to look and see who needs a bit more love. Here we go. Finish it off. till all the chocolate's used. Fantastic. And there you go. Florentines, cooking for 1 or 2. Now, if you'd like to win the book, you know what you've got to do on Tuesdays with Annette. That's right, you've got to like, share, and in the comment, you get your camera, or your mobile phone, take a photo of your Florentines and put it in the comments, and then you go in the draw to win the book. That's right, cooking for 1 or 2. Now, if you're interested in getting any more information from my website, simply2good.com.au, this is where you'll see the knives, my measure spoons, the fabulous cookbooks, the woks and the pans from Neoflam, as well as my shakes. It's all there for you, plus lots of resources. And don't forget to go in next Tuesday and you'll get the honey mustard chicken recipe to cook with me next week. So for now, thanks for joining me. I'll see you on Thursday. Bye now.